Okay, I think that's all sorted out. Right. Hello, everybody. It's Michael here, and this is a bit of an unexpected live stream, which I'm currently doing for Miniature Railway Adventures because this morning I noticed that the folks who are operating the Miniature Railway Adventures tribute page on Twitter have recently put up this update, this new uh, trivia thing that they're doing. So basically, they've been asking me to provide them with some trivia of miniature adventures that they would like to share. And so one of them was this lost episode, which originally was meant to be was listed to be adapted for series one, but um, having thought about it and looking back on the story in general, I just found it to be not exactly a good story to focus on. There isn't really much sense in it there. So I just thought, just write this off as a lost episode. And for the last 10 years, it actually kind of was a lost episode because this episode was written in 2013, very quickly, I must add, and it. It was part of an assignment that I was given as part of my media college. I think it was from my last year of media college, and we had these assignments to do. Two of them was single camera and audio production. Miniature Railway Adventures was just starting off its YouTube channel, but around about this time. So I thought, what better way to continue the boost of making Miniature Railway Adventures than incorporate it um, into my student work. So this story, as well as the story Road versus Rail, which you can listen to on the Miniature Rail Adventures YouTube channel, they were part of this assignment. I While Road versus Rail survived, as many backup copies were made, plus, like I said, it was uploaded onto YouTube. Um, this episode, this live action adaptation, unfortunately didn't survive. There was some parts of there which I thought could have been done a lot better. We were rushed for time in terms of on the day of filming. Things weren't always going according to plan, and so what the final result was a wee bit of an embarrassing drama piece. However, it was the first ever adaptation of Miniature Adventures to be done in live action, and while there had been some forms of media where Casey and Whitehouse do appear on screen, um, there is one that, unfortunately, my friend Casey Jr. On his old channel, he's now taken this down actually. But there was actually a live action segment of Miniature Railway Adventures that was recorded back in 2009, and it was only just a small introduction piece. So I don't know whether he still has this video or not, but chances are he doesn't. Um, I'd say that was pretty much the first time Miniature Railway Adventures was shown in live action. But this was the follow up. So I found the script after noticing this daily trivia thing on the Twitter page and decided to tell you guys the story. So, for the first time, you're going to hear an actual read through of one of the original Miniature Railway Adventure scripts. Now, this was all written back in 2013, so it's a very small script compared to my recent ones that I do for the animation series. I think the one for the pilot is roughly about maybe I think it was about maybe 20 or so pages long. I think this is probably how long is this here? Because I know the limit. I can remember the limit we had. Yeah, this is about 8 pages long. Wow, that is that definitely shows you how small an episode was. But yeah, the limit was meant to be 10 minutes long, and usually Miniature Railway Adventures stories, they're roughly going about, you're talking about maybe an hour's length at most, maybe an hour and a half if it's a special. I'm just going to have a look at the pilot script here that I have for this work in progress animated pilot. Let's see. I have to get back onto this here at some point. I know I've been definitely working on this here. Right, so the animated pilot for this new one that I'm working on right now, it's 45 pages long compared to this live action version, which is 8 pages long. So it definitely shows you, like, how much goes into Miniature Railway Adventures. Okay, so the story is called Flower Trouble. I don't know why I gave it that name, but this was just a story plot that just came into my head randomly. So here we go. We start off with an opening title montage. Exterior, Model Engineer Society, track, daytime. The montage contains engines of the Model Engineer Society running around the track or working at their engines. A voiceover speaks over this footage. The locomotive of any type can be a powerful mode of transport to travel on, and the Model Engineer Society have the power behind the goods yard and sidings to capture the glory days of steam. Join us for the miniature railway adventures. This then follows with the captions The Miniature Railway Adventures, created by Michael White and Casey Jr., music by Martin McManus and Michael White. The title of the episode, A Flower Trouble, is then shown, with the follow-up credits of written, produced, and directed by Michael White. We then crossfade from the opening titles to the interior of the Model Engineer Society's mess room, daytime. We have a panning shot. The camera moves across a wall covered in notes and engine plans before stopping at a set of cards in someone's hand. This pans across a table to which we see another set of cards in another hand. We cut to a medium close-up of Casey and Whitehouse, who are sitting at the table playing a game of blackjack. Each of them have a bag of jelly babies with them, and with a few in the middle of the table. We have a close-up shot of Whitehouse. Point of view, we see Whitehouse has a 10 and a king, which gives him 20. He just needs an ace to win the game. Close-up on Casey. He's looking very determined. Point of view, same as Whitehouse, we see over Casey's shoulder and we see his cards. He has a 3 and a 9. 12. Whitehouse, are you in or out, Casey? I'm nowhere near quitting. Hit me. Casey pushes 2 bags of jelly babies in the middle of the table. Whitehouse does the same before giving him a card from the deck. A king, bringing Casey's total to 22. Whitehouse turns over his cards. 20. What have you got? Even though it looks like he's lost, Casey smiles as he turns over his 2 cards next to the king. A 3 and an 8. 21. Oh, lucky me. 21, says Casey. Whitehouse looks absolutely shocked. But that can't be possible. Casey then begins singing the gambler. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know... Whoops. He drops some of his winnings and bends down to pick them up. A card falls from his jacket pocket and into his hat. It's his 9 card. We show a medium close-up of Casey, looking very sheepishly as he looks up to Whitehouse, who is not at all pleased. Whitehouse. Lucky you, eh? You've been hiding that card all along, weren't you? No, I haven't, says Casey. Whitehouse goes over and tries to check Casey for any more cards. How many more have you got stashed away? Get off, cries Casey. The two have a bit of a quarrel. It wears on until Mark Carson comes into the mess room and stops the quarrel before it turns into fisticuffs. Cars. Hey, that's enough, you two. Now what do you think you are doing? Whitehouse and Casey stop fighting and sit back down. We were just having a game of cards, says Whitehouse. Carr says, on a nice day like this, why can't you spend your lunch hours doing something different? Like what? Says Casey. Medium close-up Carr's looking at Casey and Whitehouse. Well, Jane did say the other day that this mess room could do with brightening up. Whitehouse and Casey looked around and could actually see what he meant. The walls and the carpet of the mess room do look a bit grubby. Carr continues by saying, which is why she's looking for volunteers to gather up some flowers to help brighten it up. So what do you say, guys? Casey and Whitehouse look at each other as if to say, is he being serious? Whitehouse then says, Cars, we're railwaymen. We don't go prancing about the fields gathering flowers. Casey also adds in by saying, I'd rather take an express passenger train or even better, a fast goods. Cars can see that he's not going to win them over, so he then says, well, the rare Bellus Paneris plant has been sighted around by the station. Would be nice to see one of these brighten up the clubroom. To which point, Whitehouse then just says, no way, there's no chance you're getting me to find any... To which point, Casey then pulls him to one side so Cars couldn't hear them. We have a close-up of Casey and Whitehouse in a huddle. Casey then says, listen, he says that plant was rare, right? Yeah, so if it's rare, then it could be worth a bit of money that we could use for the railway. Whitehouse can see what he's saying. Oh yeah, I get you now. We cut to a medium shot as they turn back to Cars with big smiles on their faces. Casey, okay, Cars, we'll go and have a look for this Bellis thingy. It shouldn't be too hard to find. To which point Kara smiles. Don't worry, it's not. Good luck with the search then. We then cut to an exterior of the Model Engineering Society's track daytime. A jaunty theme is played as Casey and Whitehouse are on board Lady Grange as it drives down the line. Whitehouse is sitting in one of the coaches looking around for the rare plant. Lady Grange stops at the station and the two searchers disembark from the train. Whitehouse walks over to the green. Now, Carl says this plant is very easy to find, so we wouldn't have much trouble finding it. Just one thing I need to ask, says Casey. What's that? Says Whitehouse. What does this plant look like? Ah. Whitehouse stares blankly before making a puzzled expression. In all the hassle, they've forgotten to ask Cars what this plant looked like. Whitehouse scratches his head as he thinks about the matter. Well, it shouldn't be too hard to make it out. Just need to find one that is commonly seen around here. Casey looks about him. All I can see around here are daisies. We have close-up shots of various shots of daisies all around the station yard and on the green. Well, maybe it's a small plant, says Whitehouse. Come on and start looking. They get down on their hands and knees and start making a rummage through the grass. We have several close-ups of Casey and Whitehouse looking through blades of grass. The camera angle will be positioned so it looks as if that it's shrunk down and it is almost in the grass. We cut to a wide shot of the two changing areas around the grass area as time passes. The montage, which will have some very funny jaunty music, will feature Casey and Whitehouse looking through all sorts of plants and bushes to see if they could find this plant, with no luck. As the montage ends, the camera then pans across from the green over to the station. We find Casey and Whitehouse are now sitting over by the station with Lady Grange simmering nearby. Casey is sitting on one of the station benches, while Whitehouse is sitting on top of the footbridge. By this point now, they have actually forgotten what the name of the plant was and are trying to remember it. Casey then says, Belly Penopus? No, that wasn't it, says Whitehouse. Benzie Pinobel? God, this is going to take me up on. This is going to bother me for the rest of the day. Casey takes out his phone and checks for a signal. No luck. Well, I can't check the online encyclopedia for it. Can't even get a smegging signal. Eh? Says Whitehouse. I says I can't check the online encyclopedia for it. There's no signal here. See? He shows his phone. Of course, there's no signal. Whitehouse nearly falls off the bridge. How could they have been so stupid? Again. Of course, says Whitehouse. Now there should be an encyclopedia here on the television in the mess room. We should be able to find out what this Bellis Paneris thing is. To which point Casey then says, "Oh, you've got the name right." "Oh yes," says Whitehouse. Amazing what comes back to you after that shock. He jumps down from the footbridge and they jump back onto Lady Grange. We have another shot of her making her way back to the mess room. We cut to the interior of the mess room daytime. Whitehouse and Casey hurry into the room. Casey hurries over to the TV and picks up the encyclopedia which is being used to support the TV stand. Out of breath, Whitehouse goes over to make both him and Casey a cup of tea. Casey thumbs through the pages of the book. Now let's see, it should be here somewhere. He then finds the flower section of the encyclopedia. Let's see now. Bellis Paneris, here we are. Now, what are you? After a bit of reading, Casey then lowers the book in complete shock. We have this in a close-up shot. As it says here, when Casey reads the description, his eyes widen with surprise as he slams the book down on the table. His face looks pale, as if he's just seen a ghost. It's a daisy. Whitehouse nearly chokes on his tea. He hurries over to the table. It's a what? Look for yourself. Casey passes the book. Are you telling me we've wasted our entire lunch hour looking for a smegging daisy? Let me see. That smeghead, says Casey, annoyed. We cut to a close-up of the book's description. Whitehouse reads the notice. Bellis Paneris, otherwise known as the common daisy, found in most garden habitats. Well, where is that cars? Whitehouse slams the book shut and hurries out the door. Casey follows behind. We cut to an exterior of the Model Engineering Society's mess room. Cars is just passing the mess room as if he was looking for Casey and Whitehouse. They should be back at work, and they're nowhere to be seen. Oi, you! Cars turns around and sees Casey and Whitehouse hurrying out of the mess room, looking very annoyed. Cars. Ah, there you are. Right, hurry along now and get your trains ready. White House runs up to him. Why didn't you tell us that Bella's Penenim Bungleway was just an ordinary daisy? To which point Cars realizes what he's talking about and laughs. Oh, you found it then? Well, I couldn't tell you, could I? Besides, it gave you something to do during your lunch hour. Right, hurry along now and get your next train out. Cars walks away to the mess room, leaving Casey and Whitehouse absolutely speechless. They look at each other with open mouths. We cut to a medium close-up of Casey and Whitehouse. Casey, well, how do you like that? Whitehouse, some rare flower. I should have known he was messing with us from the very start. Well, come on then, says Casey. Let's go and get these trains sorted out. Casey and Whitehouse both walk out of shot through the brick portal as the ending credits music starts to play. The camera zooms out of the brick portal through a set of pine trees before we cut to the end credits. The end credits is basically just a bit of B-roll footage from the opening titles, and that was pretty much it. That was the live action adaptation of Miniature Railway Adventures, which sadly is now lost to time. But there you go. LBSC 70. Well, you've just made it to the end of the read through. I'm sorry to hear this. Sorry to say that to you. But hopefully, when the stream's over, you'll be able to go back and listen to it again. But that's pretty much it. That was pretty much the story of the lost one of the lost episodes of Miniature Railway Adventures. There are a few others which I might disclose maybe another time, but yeah, there were definitely some missing episodes from Miniature Railway Adventures that have now been pretty much been written off as not really good for the canon order of the stories, or just weren't really that interesting to make. I think in terms of the stories that have been made from Miniature Railway Adventures, like in terms of audiobooks out there, such as Puffer's Derailment and Groki Halloween, I think they're more or less just like side stories that were just pretty much just made just because at the time I just thought it was quite a good idea, just maybe right at the time, just to get it out of my system. But in the term canon order of the series, they're not really they don't really fit with the actual timeline of the series in general. But there you go. So unfortunately, like, you know, the story of Flower Trouble cannot be adapted for either audiobook or animation, because like I said, there's not really much to go on in terms of story plot wise. It does I know it does sound interesting. It might sound like an interesting story to adapt, but there's not really much in terms of Miniature Railway stuff, you know. It's just not really heavily focusing on the railway, but it's just more or less just Casey and Whitehouse just trying to spend their lunch hour. And plus, it's a very short story as well. It was like I said, the plot line, the aim of the story was that it had to last for 10 minutes, and that was all we could write, or I could write at the time. But I do also have the original script for Road versus Rail, which we used for the audio adaptation. But you guys, that one's already canon order for the series, so you know that's made in. It was the last one that we made with the full cast of it. That was actually 10 years ago, would you believe it or not? So 10 years later, we've now got a brand new cast formed for the characters, and right now we're slowly just trying to get the lines in for everybody. So at the moment now, I think probably 3 members of cast have already sent their lines through. So I'm just going to ask a few of us here to see if it's possible they can get their lines in this month, so that we can get an audio draft done. But I can give you some guys updates regarding to the animated series so far. Is that we have one character rig now finished, and that is for Casey. So Casey's character rig is now finished. Whitehouse's character character rig is now being worked on as we speak, and that'll pretty much be taking up most of the majority of from now till late July, which is where production is probably going to start. So one other thing I just want to also say here is that yesterday we broadcasted the first part of a new story for Miniature Adventures called Love Hurts. Now, I just want to point out here that this story was actually one that I was very nervous about releasing because I just don't know exactly whether it worked or not, though. But some friends of mine who've been helping me with writing some of the future stories have said that the story does sound very interesting, and it does dive into a bit more of the character's past. But yeah, uh, I can also say I wouldn't say it's my favorite story to work on, but it's one of the ones where I have to take a gamble when it comes to like writing various story plots. And there's some parts in the story, one part in the story in particular, which I wasn't sure should I or should I not include, but it had to be included because if it wasn't, then there wasn't it's harder to explain really, but it had to make it had to be included for the sake of the story plot and also for the characters' backgrounds as to why they're there to begin with. So yeah, so currently I'm in the process of recording and finishing up writing part two, and boy, I read a sample of it there to some friends yesterday, and they're quite shocked as to what's being included. So that's all I'll pretty much say for now. But yeah, after the Love Hurts audiobook is done, the final audiobook for now, which is going to be called The Signalman, is hopefully I'll try and get that finished for this year, and that way, that's pretty much all the audiobooks for Miniature Railway Adventures done. There's no more. Series one of Miniature Railway Adventures is finished. It'll be finished once The Signalman is done. That's it. It's all done. No more audiobooks of Miniature Railway Adventures unless there's some important ones I want to adapt for various reasons. But after that, the animated series is going to go straight ahead for production. So we'll just see how it all goes. Right, I have to head off now, guys. For those who have joined this small stream here, listening to the script read, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you've missed it, don't worry, you'll be able to go back and replay this stream again to be able to hear the story plot. So I've got to head off now because I have some sets to build for the animated pilot, and I can't. I'm looking forward to doing this adaptation. So yeah. Right, guys, take care. Thanks again for joining in, and I'll see you guys soon. And don't forget to either follow the Miniature Adventures tribute Twitter page, which has been made by some fans of the series, as well as subscribing to the channel for updates regarding to the animated series or future audiobooks or new videos that will come out very soon. Okay, guys, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.